Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to return to a brewery in Bavaria in Germany again, and the last beer I had from these guys I really enjoyed. It was a recommendation from you guys, the viewers, and I enjoyed that beer, so I thought why not have a go at this one. And this is a style of beer that I've really started to enjoy again recently, and I should point out that it's Peter over at the Clueless Drinker who got me onto this when he made me try the Herzogliches Dunkel from his review. So for this one we're going to head over to the Herzoglich Bayerisches Brauhaus Tegernsee, and we're having a taste of the Tegernseer Dunkel Export. So this one, as the name suggests, is a German style Dunkel beer. It comes in at 5% ABV and it should be really nice. As I say, I've been really enjoying this style of beer recently. I've really got back into my German Dunkels. But anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from the Tegernseer brewery before. No doubt I will do some more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, prefecture, county, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the German beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. And do please make sure you go out and check my friend Peter at the Clueless Drinker as well. I'll put the link to his channel in the description for you below. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the Herzoglich Bayerisches Brauhaus Tegernsee. So this is actually the Ducal Brewery of Tegernsee as it translates into English, but these guys are from the small town of Tegernsee, as the name suggests, in Miesbach County in Bavaria, which is very, very close to the Austrian border. But the Tegernseer brewery apparently traces its roots back to a brewery that was started in 1050 by the Benedictine monastery in the town, which itself had been founded back in the year 746. But the brewery company in its current form traces back to 1675, when Abbot Bernd Wenzel moved the monastic brewing rights from Holzkirchen to Tegernsee, and the brewery was known for a period as the Tegernseer Klosterbrauerei. But apparently Duke Maximilian I, who was a lawyer in Ingolstadt, had a record of all the Bavarian breweries from 1604, and there was no mention of Tegernsee. So this suggests that the old brewery had actually ceased operations, and that this was the reason for the brewing rights moving in the first place. But in 1817, after Germany had gone through secularization, the brewery was purchased from Karl Joseph von Drechsel by the King of Bavaria, Maximilian I Joseph, and at this point it was renamed the Königlich Braunes Brauhaus of Tegernsee, the Royal Brown Brewhouse of Tegernsee, and later it became known as the Herzogliches Bräustüberl Tegernsee, which, as I said, is the Ducal Brewery of Tegernsee. And since this time it's been in the Wittelsbach family, and it's currently run by Duchess Maria Anna, who is the daughter of Prince Max, Duke in Bavaria. The "in" is correct. It's one of these terms that doesn't translate like fully from German, I guess you could say. But today the brewery is producing around 130,000 litres of beer per year, and they've got a restaurant in one of the wings of the former monastery as well, which is run by Peter Huber, and the bottling plant for the brewery itself is in Gmund. But they've got quite a few different beers. They've got the Tegernseer Hell, which you've seen me review before. They've got the Licht, they've got the Pils, I think, they've got the Social as well, and they've also got, I think it's called the Kieranus, the Doppelbock as well. So hopefully I can review the Doppelbock for you at some point. I would absolutely love that. One of my other favourite styles of beer when it comes to Germany. I mean, I fell in love with German beer when I was living in Heidelberg. I used to love wheat beers before I went over there, but when I was over there, I really fell in love with the Helles and the Dunkel styles of beer. And it's recently, like I said, that I've been really getting back into reviewing these styles of beer. So hopefully this is another good one. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open up. Incidentally, that's all you really need to know about the brewery. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can check out the brewery website and stuff in the description below. But there you can see, there's the old, I think, monastery that's on the label here. I'm sure that's the monastery that is actually illustrated there on the label. The blue and white crosses, of course, are the symbols of Bavaria. You will see Bayern Munich fans, of course, waving those around. There you can see the top label on this one. I think that's the Bavarian state crest, if I'm remembering correctly. Either that, or it is the crest of the Wittelsbach family. I'm not quite too sure about that, but there you can see on the bottle cap as well the Tegernseer beer, which is nicely presented there. But yeah, really nicely presented beer. There's the back label if you want a quick look at that. Nicely presented, this one. So without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. Like I said, a 5% German style, or German Dunkel beer. I shouldn't say style beer because it is actually a German beer. The brain fart. So yeah, let's get this guy out then and we'll get on with the tasting. So, as you can see, and as you would expect from the Dunkel, it's pouring a nice kind of mahogany, yeah, it's pouring a nice kind of mahogany, slightly coppery colour. That one's crystal clear. You can look at that. I always love how you get the crystal clarity with these German beers. So I would say about a half finger of a frothy, creamy, very slightly fawn coloured head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head there. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see it is completely transparent, but you know, it does look really quite nice actually, and you can smell a little bit of the lovely kind of caramel and biscuity notes coming off this beer, but it looks pretty much as you would expect a German Dunkel beer, to that nice kind of coppery mahogany colour, few kind of bubbles, and you know, the correct style head and all this kind of thing. But yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. I don't know why I sneezed earlier and my nose is getting a little bit blocked, but I can still smell the beer. So yeah, with this one, a nice kind of sweet caramelly flavour coming out of this, or aroma I should say rather. There's definitely a little bit of biscuity note in there and some of that typical German brown bread. It's a little bit toasted as well. I would say in terms of aroma, this beer does lean a little bit towards the bready side of things, and the biscuit's coming out really nicely too actually. The noble hops, the little bit of earthiness that you get from these lovely German noble hops as well, is coming out in this beer really nicely. There's a little bit of grassiness and floral character coming out of there as well. So a little touch of red fruit, a very slightly candied red fruit I would say. Always reminds me of the little heart-shaped sweets in Haribo Star Mix, of course, as I always say. A little bit of that's coming out of this beer, but mainly it's the brown bread, it's the biscuit, and it's a little bit of that slightly kind of toasted caramel note that's coming out of this beer. You know, it does smell like a typical German Dunkel, but I would say the most prominent thing, or the quirkiness of this particular beer, is the bready note that's coming out of it. But without further ado then, let's get stuck into the beer. As I always say, before you try the beer, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma, because that's always half the experience when it comes to craft beer and whiskey and sake and things like that. But let's get stuck into this one then. So this one is the Herzoglich Brauhaus from Tegernseer, and this one is the Tegernseer Dunkel Export. Let's get stuck into this one. Slàinte, skål, Prost. Yeah. You know, these beers, what I would say about the German Dunkel is, you know, it's not one of these beers that's going to kind of blow your head off, if you like, but it's just one of these ones, it's a style that is just, if it's really well done, it can be so satisfying. I do love the German Dunkel beers. It's just that, to me, it's just a little bit of a nostalgic style. I always enjoy reviewing these ones for you on the channel. Yeah, it's nice. I just always love how the flavours in these beers blend together. But let's take a closer look at this one then. So yeah, there's a nice little bit of a brown bready character that just blankets the middle of your palate. So on top of that, you've got a nice kind of you've got you've got that brown bready quality there, and on top of that, there is a little touch of a kind of grainy note coming out of this one, which is nice. The malt in this beer tastes quite distinctive to me actually, in comparison with some of the other Dunkels I've had. This one isn't quite as sweet as some of the ones that I've had before. There is a little bit of a caramel flavour in the middle of your palate, and there's a little bit of biscuit as well, but to me this one's leaning a little bit more towards the bready side of things and the biscuity side of things too, but it goes together really, really nicely in this one. As you go further into the flavour, towards the front of the tongue, you do start to get just a little bit of a nutty, maybe very slightly woody quality coming out of this beer as well. But yeah, it's nice, that beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again, I will say that. right away about this. In the back corner of the palate you can feel a little bit of that earthiness there, you know, it's that typical German noble hop quality that's coming out of this one. It does spread a little bit further forward along the sides of the tongue, you get a little bit of floral character just as you come towards the front corners of the palate, then round the very front curve of the tongue you get a little bit of that lighter grassy note. Yeah, I think this is Hallertauer hops all the way with this one. It's really just nicely done, this beer. Yeah, as I say, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again, you know. One of my favourite things in Germany was always the schnitzel and chips, the Dunkelbier sauce, and then you either had a Dunkel beer with it, or you could have a Doppelbock if you fancied a slightly heavier night, you know. But I love this, I really do love this style of beer. And as you go through this beer, that bready quality really starts to come out. A little bit of the toasted brown sugars do start to come out in this beer a little bit more as you get more and more into it. It's a beer, I would say the sweetness of this beer definitely builds a little bit as your palate adjusts to it, but I do find that it is leaning towards the kind of bready side of things too. So just behind the front curve of the palate, there's a little oily bubble there, and that's where a little bit of the fruity ester starts to come out in this one. For me, it's a very light kind of candied red fruity quality to this one. It is just a little bit of that kind of red fruity ester, you know, like the one, as I say, that you get in the Haribo Star Mix, the little heart-shaped sweets. It really does remind me of that. It's maybe not even quite as sweet as that in this beer. And as we're going through it further and further, a little bit and more of that woody, nutty flavour starts to come out, and it blends quite interestingly, I would say, with the toasted elements of the brown sugar as well. But overall, you know, it's a really nice beer, this one. I'm glad that I got to review this. You know, it's always cool to try the different Dunkel beers from the famous breweries in Bavaria. Hopefully I can go down to Tegernseer one time and go to the restaurant. I do miss that about living in Germany. I miss the potatoes, I miss the pork. I miss Germany in general. I probably do need to go back and stay there again at some point. But yeah, a really nice beer, this one. As I say, in terms of the German Dunkel, it's leaning a little bit more towards the bready side of things. So if you like a nice kind of bready German brown bread, then this beer will go really well with that. You know, this beer I think would go really well with a nice like salami and German pumpernickel bread sandwich or something like that. That's the sort of thing you should have this one with, or of course a schnitzel and chips, as I always liked. But in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, then I would say mid-bodied, on the lighter side of mid-bodied, to be fair. The carbonation is, you know, it's soft. It's that typical German smoothness to the beer. It's a little touch oily in terms of its mouthfeel, but not too much. Smoothness, there's a lot of smooth character from the hops. The malt base is quite smooth in this one. There's a little bit of sweetness from it, there's a little bit of toasted quality from it. Overall it's quite well balanced, and there's just a little touch of a fruity note to this beer as well. But overall it's another really solid Dunkel beer. You wouldn't expect anything less from a brewery that's as prominent as the Tegernseer brewery. But it's a lovely beer. In terms of the Dunkel style, it leans a little bit more towards the bready side of things. But that said, the sweetness and the roasted character does start to come out a little bit more as you get further and further into the flavour. But it's a really nice beer, and if you get the chance to have a go at it, I recommend you do. This is one of my favourite styles of beer, and like I say, I always enjoy reviewing these ones for you on the channel. So yeah, let's leave it at that. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from the Tegernseer Brauhaus as well, and hopefully I can review their Doppelbock for you at some point in the fairly near future. The Helles and the Dunkel have been really nice to review. But thank you again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. Until the next time, Slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. This was the Tegernseer Dunkel export from the Tegernseer Brewery in Miesbach County in Bavaria in the southern part of Germany. Until the next time, Slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Prost.